She turned my proposal into a viral joke. 3 years later, I made sure she tasted the same humiliation right in front of the camera. My name is Caleb, 31, a tech director for a startup in Seattle. My life wasn't the kind you'd see in a movie, with soft lighting and a melancholic soundtrack, until the night I went down on one knee to the sound of laughter. I met Riley in the spring of 2020 at an AI conference. I was presenting a machine learning solution for medical diagnostics, and there she was in the audience, holding an iPad, her eyes glinting like she already knew I'd mess up. After my talk, she approached me, handed me her card, and said, "Your presentation was decent. But slide 4, the x-axis on the graph was off." That was her, bold, confident, with a touch of arrogance. I'd never met anyone like her. Riley worked in creative marketing, building brand campaigns. She was the kind of person who commanded every room she entered, while I was the guy turning off the projector when the talk was done. And yet, we fell in love. 3 years later, I decided to propose. It wasn't a whim. I planned for weeks, sought advice from my mom, spent 2 months picking out a ring, and chose the perfect day, July 4th, the anniversary of the first time she held my hand at Gasworks Park. I wanted it to be flawless. I rented a rooftop with a view of the Space Needle, invited close friends, flew my parents in from Oregon, and even invited Riley's mom, who I always suspected didn't like me much. Everything was staged like a scene from a rom-com. String lights, an acoustic band, champagne ready to pop. All that was missing was her. When Riley stepped onto the rooftop, the room seemed to hold its breath. She wore a forest green dress, her hair loosely pinned, lips as red as ever. She smiled, greeted everyone, completely unaware of what was coming. The party flowed smoothly. People clinked glasses, laughed. My heart pounded like a drum. The hand clutching the ring box in my pocket was slick with sweat. Riley sat across from me, chatting with her best friend, Jessica, someone I always sensed had an edge I couldn't quite pin down. When dessert came, the signal was given. The lights dimmed, the band paused. I stood, walked to the center of the floor, and dropped to one knee. The rooftop fell silent. I opened the ring box, looked at Riley with eyes I thought she'd remember forever, and said, "Riley Morgan, will you be my partner through every version of life, from buggy code to scorching summer days?" A pause, then laughter. Riley laughed. At first, a small chuckle, like she thought I was joking. Then louder. Then her whole body shook, her hand covering her mouth, still unable to stifle it. "Caleb, you're not actually serious, are you?" she asked, her voice catching through giggles. I was still kneeling, still holding the ring. My smile froze, then crumbled into something numb. Jessica whispered something, and Riley turned away, walking out of the space I'd built to confess my love. No words, no glance back, just gone. The room was a graveyard. My mom clutched her chest. Riley's dad stared at me like he'd been stabbed in the back. I stood, mechanically pocketing the ring. No one spoke. I don't remember who poured me a whiskey afterward, only that I drank it, and felt nothing. No Riley, no future I'd imagined. Just a night, a rooftop, and a memory shattered by laughter. I went home half mad. That night, I sat alone in my 15th floor apartment, staring at the city I once thought I'd build a family in. Eyes wide, heart no longer racing, just still. I opened my phone, intending to shut it off. But then a text from Ethan, my college best friend. "Bro, have you seen the video?" I frowned. "What video?" A TikTok link followed. I clicked. The video opened with me on one knee. Perfect angle, from behind Jessica's shoulder. A premeditated shot. Soft lighting, framed beautifully, focused just as I opened the ring box. My voice trembled. "Riley Morgan, will you?" Then Riley's laugh. Not panicked, not confused. A laugh that knew what was coming. She laughed, turned to Jessica, who was holding the phone, and said, loud enough for the mic to catch, "Oh my God, he actually thinks this is real." Then she walked away, her friends' laughter echoing behind her, like they were watching a perfectly scripted skit. I shut off my phone. Couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it had been punched. My hands and feet went cold. I'd been set up. A game. A plan. And I was the clown in their show. By morning, the video had over 1 million views. Caption: "When your situationship proposes. Face with tears of joy ring #cringe #girlboss." I didn't know who posted it. But the laughter, the whispers at the start of the video. Jessica. She'd recorded it all. It wasn't random. She knew. And Riley knew. I texted her. Riley, did you know about this? No reply. I tried again. What happened last night? Please, at least tell me you didn't know Jessica was filming. Seen, but no answer. I called. No one picked up. 2 days later, a message came from Jules, an old co-worker of Riley's. Caleb, we're not close, but I think you deserve the truth. I can't stay quiet anymore. I sat up. Riley reconnected with an ex in May. They met up after a friend's gathering. She knew you were planning to propose. Someone in the group slipped. She told Jessica. They all knew. I couldn't believe it. Jules sent more. She said, let's see how romantic he gets. Might make for a good clip. She told her friends, let him do it. Let him kneel, thinking he's got a chance. Caleb, I'm so sorry. I couldn't keep this in. I wanted to smash my phone. I wanted to scream. I wanted to drive to Riley's place, bang on her door, demand she explain. But I did nothing. I sat there, silent, and realized this wasn't just a rejection. This was a public execution. I thought betrayal happened behind your back. But there's another kind, where they look you in the eye, smile, let you walk into the trap, and destroy you in front of a crowd. That's what Riley did. I holed up in my apartment for nearly a week, dodging the world. But in a brief call with Ryan, my best friend from MIT, I spilled everything. No sugarcoating. No details spared. Ryan went quiet for a moment. Then he gave a bitter chuckle over the line. She made you a public joke? Fine. Let me show her what a knife to the heart feels like. No blood, but unforgettable. Ryan was cold, brilliant, and devastatingly charming. At every party, he was the guy women noticed first, and men watched warily. I said, I don't want to stoop to petty revenge. He just laughed. You don't have to do anything. You've already been the good guy. Now it's just letting someone see you're worth a few beats too late. The plan began. Ryan started engaging with Riley online. A few likes, a comment like, always admired your vibe. Within 48 hours, Riley messaged him first. She remembered him from some party. She was going through a rough patch. She thought Ryan seemed so different from Caleb, more mature. Reading the texts Ryan forwarded, I could only give a bitter smile. Every word from Riley echoed the sweet nothings she'd once whispered to me when we first fell in love. 2 weeks later, Ryan and Riley were dating. I stayed out of it. No contact, no involvement. I just watched, like a script unfolding on its own. Riley started posting cryptic stories about healing, about someone who gets me more than anyone, and not everyone who proposes is sincere. I wasn't angry. I just saw Ryan was right. She'd unravel herself. The climax came. Ryan invited Riley to a glamping trip near Lake Chelan, a luxury retreat with a sunset view straight out of a painting. On the final night, he set up a dinner by the lake. Candles, white wine, moonlight. Ryan went down on one knee, pulled out a ring box. Riley froze, hand to her mouth. Are you serious? She whispered, eyes gleaming like she'd been saved from her past shame. Ryan said nothing, just smiled and opened the box. No ring, just a small note, elegantly printed. You weren't supposed to take this seriously. Then he stood, walked away. A camera caught it all, the close-up of Riley's pale, stunned face, lips moving soundlessly. The video was posted to TikTok by a random retreat guest hired to capture a beautiful moment. And this time, Riley was the punchline. The clip went viral. When the mean girl thinks she's the one now, but he pulls a reverse Uno card. Caption, Karma arrives in a ring box. Wrapped gift ring crossmark. Riley was blindsided. Jessica was exposed. The internet dug up Riley's old video mocking me, now juxtaposed with Ryan's fake proposal like a perfect plot twist. I said nothing. No posts. No jabs. A few days later, I shared a photo of myself reading at a cafe, captioned, I don't need to say anything. The universe is doing its work. 3 days after the fake proposal video, Riley vanished from social media. Instagram locked. TikTok wiped clean. Her flirty photos with Ryan, gone. But the internet never forgets. Ryan's video, the moment he stood and left the note, hit 8 million views in a week. On Reddit, a trending thread popped up. Remember the girl who humiliated her boyfriend's proposal on TikTok last year? She just got reverse played. Hard. Comments poured in. Who's Caleb? I want to buy him coffee and give him a hug. Ryan deserves an Oscar. That's how you handle cruelty. class, and precision. Meanwhile, I was in therapy with Sam, who'd guided me through my darkest days. "Caleb," Sam said, "you didn't take revenge. You just held up a mirror for them to see themselves." I gave a faint smile, then sank. "I'm not happy, Sam. Not gloating. I just feel empty." "Were you hoping she'd apologize?" "No," I met his gaze. "I just want to know why." The answer came from an unexpected source. Riley's mom. She called me one rainy afternoon, her voice shaky, deliberate. "Caleb, thank you for not publicly tearing her down. I know everything. All of it." I stayed silent. "I'm not defending her. Riley, she wasn't always like this. After her dad left, she changed. She started believing everyone would abandon her. So she destroyed first. Broke things so no one could hurt her first." I clenched my jaw. "She knew I loved her," I said. "She knew, and still turned me into a performance. Because she was scared it was real," she whispered. "Scared of being loved without a catch, without control. She didn't know how to handle it." I hung up, my head buzzing. Riley wasn't evil, but she was cruel in her fear. And by refusing to believe in something good, she'd killed the best thing we ever had. That evening, Riley texted. Her first message since the fake proposal. "Caleb, can we talk? Not to get back together, just to end things properly." I didn't reply right away. I waited until morning, then texted back. "One meeting. 1 hour. Where you first called me special. A small cafe in Capitol Hill. The table by the window where we used to read together." Riley arrived 10 minutes late. She looked thinner, hair loose, no makeup, like she'd just walked out of a sleepless night. "You look different," she said. I didn't respond. She studied me, then spoke. "I don't have any excuse worth hearing for what I did. I've just spent my life doubting. And when you knelt, it felt too real, too big." I gripped my hands. "And you laughed. With your best friend. In front of my mom." She looked down. "I know. And I think. Ryan gave me a taste of what I put you through. It hurt, Caleb. It hurts so much." I met her eyes. "I thought you'd be the one I'd build a home with, grow old with. But no one can build anything on a heart that's still broken." Tears welled in her eyes. "You were the kindest thing in my life. And you destroyed it." I stood. "I don't hate you, Riley. But I have nothing left to hold on to. You can heal, but not with me." I left money for the coffee and walked out. She didn't call after me. That night, I sat on my balcony, the city twinkling below. In my hand was the ring from that night. I didn't throw it away. I tucked it into a drawer, a necessary full stop, a scar neither ugly nor beautiful, just real. 6 months later, I moved to Austin, Texas, not to escape, but to start somewhere not defined by memories. I worked remotely, leading a project to build a data platform for a hospital chain. Life was slower, sunnier, and I started doing things I'd forgotten. Biking along the lake, reading novels, blogging about surviving an emotional collapse. And then I met Avery. Nothing dramatic. No fate. Just a Friday evening when I stopped by a cafe bookstore on South Congress. She was arguing with a clerk about a misprinted copy of the Midnight Library. Something about her voice made me turn. It started with me helping her find the right edition, then asking what authors she liked, then inviting her for hot cocoa. Not love at first sight. Just gentle, safe, real. Avery wasn't like Riley. She didn't crave the spotlight, didn't perform. When I told her my story, she took my hand and said, "Anyone who mocked your love never had the capacity to receive it." I didn't reply. I just nodded. For the first time in months, my mind was quiet. Meanwhile, back in Seattle, Riley was fading from the spotlight in ways no one posted online. I didn't follow her, but old acquaintances occasionally messaged. "Heard about Riley? She's struggling, maybe mentally." She stopped going to events. Canceled all her contracts. No one's heard her laugh in ages. Jessica cut ties too. They're done. Riley started hiding in her apartment. Her mom once called, asking if I knew someone who could talk to her daughter. Riley refused therapists. She didn't trust anyone. No one trusted her. Her rare posts grew vague, dark, like she was lost in the web she'd spun. I wasn't happy hearing this, but I wasn't hurt either. I'd loved Riley, truly, but she'd chosen to shatter that to prove the world was all lies. And now she lived in the world she believed was real. She'd won her game, but the cost was having no one left to walk with. As for me, Avery and I moved in together after nearly a year. No grand proposals, no viral clips. Just a rainy evening when she turned to me in the kitchen and said, "Caleb, if you're up for it, let's make this life something we don't want to run from." I nodded. No hesitation. I didn't hate Riley anymore. I just felt grateful. Grateful she'd pushed me out of a one-sided love. And grateful I hadn't stayed in a place with no room for trust. 3 years later, Denver International Airport. An autumn afternoon, cold wind slipping through the massive glass windows, amplifying the loneliness of goodbyes and reunions. I, Caleb, was waiting for a flight back to Austin after a medical data symposium. Avery didn't come this time. She was home, working on her first book manuscript. I'd bought her a leather bookmark, engraved with, "Love is not loud. It just stays." I was at the gate when a figure passed by, making me pause. Riley, hair shorter, thinner, in an oversized sweater, earbuds in, pulling a suitcase alone. Our eyes met for a moment. No anger, no blame, just a pair of weathered eyes, quiet and hollow. I gave a faint smile. Not forced, not pitying. Riley bit her lip. She pulled out her earbuds, about to speak. But I'd already turned away. I boarded the plane. One thought echoed. Some people you don't hate, don't love. You just don't belong to each other anymore. The flight took off. I looked out at the western sky, ablaze with sunset. I pulled the bookmark from my pocket, turning it in my hands. Then I opened my phone and texted Avery. "On my way home. Got you something small. Like me. Always here, just doesn't need to say much." Behind me, someone who once held my whole world was now just a silent glance in a crowd. And I had learned not to look back.